Last Stand. Arnie is back, as he kept telling us in that introduction, when the only screen I could get to was like the premiere. It was like really terrible. I just had to be at the premiere because I couldn't get to any other screening. So he's an old school US small town sheriff, albeit apparently an old school Austrian US small town sheriff, and whose daily beat basically involves just like locking up the local drunks and making sure the milk has arrived at the local diner. When a super bad prisoner escapes whilst being taken to death row, he's making a run for the border, and he's in a very, very fast car. The only thing between him and the border is the small town of what Arnie is the sheriff. Arnie finds out that this super bad criminal is coming, and it turns out, of course, that Arnie has a spectacular past because actually he's Arnie. He's not just some ordinary bloke. So he rounds up a sort of ragtag band of law enforcement officers, Luis Guzman, who's sort of portly desk jockey, Johnny Knoxville, who's this wacky character who just collects antique firearms, and they wait for the super bad guy to turn up so that they can have the last stand. I haven't heard this clip. I've been told it's representative.
Torrance, where's the fire coming from?
Behind you, roof next to the diner.
Cover me, guys.
Yes, sir.
How are you, Sheriff?
Old.
And that's the century. There is now an entire genre of action films which consists of action heroes that you loved 25 years ago coming back, making action films in which they are still action-tastic, but after they do a whole bunch of stuff, they make a joke about their hip. Because we've got Die Hard, Good Day to Die Hard coming up, which is the Bruce Willis goes to Russia and all that stuff. And you had all the expendable stuff. I mean, the gag is essentially the same. You loved them then, you still love them now. They can still do stuff, but they've got a bit of a gammy knee, and they might need to go to the bathroom. Although actually, it's never needs to go to the bathroom. So when they did the introduction for this thing, the stars were Arnie and Johnny Knoxville, who everybody just went bananas about. Because for me, the star was going to be Kim Ji-woon, because he's the director who made things like Tale of Two Sisters and The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which is weird. The problem with this is it isn't weird. It's just terribly generic and terribly formulaic, and pretty much hits all the it just does exactly what you'd expect the movie to do.
Couldn't that be seen as a good thing?
I wanted it to be a guilty pleasure, and it wasn't entirely without some moments of that, but nothing like enough to see it through. I mean, the problem with it was that, particularly considering that Kim Ji-woon has made such a strange, outlandish, weird, wacky, bizarre, fanciful stuff in the past, there was something that just felt terribly ordinary about the blowing up, shooting, stop, make a sly aside in an Austrian accent, and do that all over again. And Peter Stormare eats the scenery, and Louis Goodman runs around, who's always sort of quite funny, and Johnny Knoxville does Johnny Knoxville, meaning he wears a funny hat and falls over and falls off a crane and a post and hurts himself. And it just felt terribly, terribly routine. What I wanted was something that was a lot more strange, a lot more weird, a lot more bizarre, and unfortunately I didn't get it.